लाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त अंगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। शुश्रूषो श्रद्धानस्य वासुदेवाकधारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थानि सेवनात्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तथा रजस्तमो भावा कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति। एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते। भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशया क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेव। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for this morning's Bhagavatam discussion. Have a beautiful verse lining up. This is the last verse of, sorry, where did my Vedabase go? Just a second. Sorry, having a little trouble with. All right. So this is the last verse of this very beautiful chapter, chapter 16, from the third canto, where Jaya Vijaya cursed, and this is most of the part is the discussion between the Lord and the four Kumaras. Brahma is actually explaining this too. We will read the verse. विश्वस्य स्थितिलयोद्भव हेतुराद्यो योगेश्वरैरपि दुरत्यय योगमाया क्षेमं विधास्यति स न भगवान् त्रयधिशस्तत्रास्मदीयविमृशेन कियान् इहार्था विश्वोद्भव हेतुराद्यो योगेश्वरैरपि दुरत्यय योगमाया क्षेमं विधास्यति स नो भगवांश्रयाधीशस् तत्रास्मदीयविमृशेन कियान् इहार्धा. What to my meaning? Vishwasya of the universe, Ya who, Sthiti maintenance, Laya destruction, Udbhava creation, Hetuhu the cause, Adyaha the most ancient person, Yoga Ishwarai by the masters of yoga, Api Duratyaya cannot be easily understood. Yogamayaha, his Yogamaya potency. Kshemam, good. Vidhasyati, will do. Saha, he. Naha, of us. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Triadhishyaha, Triadhishaha, the controller of the three modes of material nature. Tatra, there. Asmadiya, by our. Vimrushena, deliberation. Kiyan, what. Iha, on this subject. Arthaha, purpose. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear sons, three modes of nature and is responsible for the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe. His wonderful creative power, Yogamaya, cannot be easily understood even by the masters of yoga. The most ancient person, the person will alone come to our rescue. What purpose can we serve on his behalf by deliberating on the subject? Beautiful purport by Prabhupada. When something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculations. For example, sometimes we see that a powerful preacher is killed, or sometimes he is put into difficulty, just as Haridas Thakur was. He was a great devotee who came into this material world to execute the will of the Lord by preaching the Lord's glories. But Haridas was punished at the hands of the Qazi by being beaten in 22 marketplaces. Similarly, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified and Prahlad Maharaj was put through so many tribulations. The Pandavas, who were direct friends of Krishna, lost their kingdom. Their wife was insulted and they had to undergo many severe tribulations. If one sees this purport, I was thinking last evening, Madhav Prabhu's Kirtan, Radhika Mataji was saying, think of all this. Do we really want Krishna? Do we really want to take shelter of such a person? The summary of all the tribulations of these close friends and family and dear devotees of Krishna, what all they had to go through. Seeing all these reverses affect devotees, one should not be disturbed. One should simply understand that in these matters there must be some plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam's conclusion is that a devotee is never disturbed by such reverses. He accepts even reverse conditions as a grace of the Lord. One who continues to serve the Lord, even in reverse conditions, is assured that he will go back to Godhead, back to the Vaikuntha planets. Lord Brahma assured the demigods that there was no use in talking about how the disturbing situation of darkness was taking place, since the actual fact was that it was ordered by the Supreme Lord. Brahma knew this because he was a great devotee. It was possible for him to understand the plan of the Lord. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, Cursed by the Sages. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hi Krishna, welcome again for the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. This is a conclusion verse for this whole chapter, which has so many beautiful um, practical applications. Actually, very very practical. I was, somehow thinking the beginning of the third canto, it was all like, so much of this creation and this planet and that planet. It's a little bit, going above the head. But in spite of that, how Srimad Bhagavatam, in any aspect, any canto, any chapter, it's presenting this beautiful message to draw us towards Krishna, irrespective of whatever section. But this particular section, personally, I'm very much inspired. One thing, the reason being, I had a lot of struggle, particularly. Is Krishna fair? Is Krishna just in dealing with the devotees? As Prabhupada is beautifully saying here, we cannot understand. And I have this mind that I have to understand. Things have to make sense. Otherwise, I just cannot trust that message. That means I don't know. Somebody may be, just making it up and putting it there. How am I supposed to trust that statement unless I can see that in my own life, or in some way, at least logically, I can understand that. So in that sense, I have a lot of struggle in this particular subject matter. And I was just so appreciating Krishna's timing to allow me to discuss this verse. And I was also appreciating for the last 2 or 3 weeks, this theme is coming back again and again. In Gita Nagari, I don't know if any of you have missed, uh, please hear this very eye-opening session by His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu, just exactly on this topic. How to understand Krishna's, particularly when he is, seemingly don't care or like doing things that we don't expect him to do. How do we understand that? How do we deal with that hard struggle? It was just so heart touching. And so Prabhu was speaking about tips for talking to Krishna based on the Bhagavatam prayers. And one part is, what can we do through prayer, how we can reach out to Krishna. And the second part is, what's Krishna's reciprocation? What does Krishna do for our prayer when we reach out to him? And Prabhu said that's the toughest part, because we cannot understand, and we cannot even, put him in the box saying, okay, this is what he will do. No, sorry, he's not a vending machine. um, in this, that struggle, Prabhu was explaining very, very beautifully how to understand this and how we can deepen our faith in this message that Krishna is actually fair, Krishna is actually just, Krishna is actually kind, and he really cares, not only for his devotees, even for, most of us don't know how many years in this lifetime and how many lifetimes we turned our back and said, forget about it, I don't want to do anything with you. In spite of that, he never left us. Even now, even after coming into Krishna consciousness, we hear that this process, it's an ongoing process. It's not like, okay, I have surrendered at one point, the first time when I heard this beautiful kirtan, or when I heard my spiritual master session, yeah, that's it, I want Krishna, I want nothing else. you know we may have those glimpses, but after that something else happens. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. I can practice Krishna consciousness, but I can also do, whatever other stuff. So, sorry, one second. Yeah? Vrindavan Prabhu. I'm sorry. It's a call from Prem Kishore Mataji. Can you see? I'm sorry. Yeah. So that surrender, we may not be able to see in terms of that minute to minute process, but Krishna has never left us. Even in those moments, whether we are deeply taking his shelter or we are seemingly, callous about him, or completely against and rebelling, questioning him. He never left us. So on this aspect, Prabhu was sharing how to understand this, seemingly reverses, all these reverses that Prabhupada is putting in this purport. Of course, this is just only a sample of it. If we go through the Bhagavatam, maybe half of it, wherever, the discussion about the devotees, it's about these intense difficulties. I think we'll only have handful of examples where, it's all rosy or happily ever after, like, Ambarish Maharaj or Yudhishthir Maharaj for a little bit after they won the battle and Yudhishthira Maharaj crowned as a emperor. Only for a little bit. They have, like, seemingly no difficulties and just things going nicely, and they're practicing devotional service. But if we see most of the devotees, most of these pastimes, most of these interactions, we see these intense situations that the devotees were put in. So we'll be like, okay, what's going on? And Radhika Raman Prabhu was sharing in this respect, we may not understand, but there is a backstory or there is an inside story for each of these seemingly, inconceivable and seemingly unfair or unjust or like what's going on situations. There is something deeper that Krishna wants to do at that point. And in this connection, I think I have heard Jiva Goswami brings this example. Uh, like we cannot say, okay, in this situation, this is how Krishna acts. Because for Gajendra's situation, the Lord just like, the description is so beautiful. He just like almost flew instantly to be right there with him. And then, like he chopped off the head of crocodile and he saved him. And, he went back to Godhead or wherever he belonged to the Gandharva Loka. So the protection is probably, a little more easing to our heart and probably what we would expect the Lord to do in that situation. But if we talk about the similar situation that Parikshit Maharaj is in, it's not the case. And we don't see that, apparent protection from Krishna, where he just decided, okay, fine, I'm going to take this curse and I'm going to leave my body within 7 days. And then Krishna could have come and, chopped off the head or whatever do for this Takshaka snake bird, whatever it is, was coming to burn or kill Parikshit Maharaj, but he didn't do that. So we may say, hey, wait a second, does Krishna like or love or protect Gajendra, but he doesn't love Parikshit Maharaj so much? No, that's not the case, because we see even when he was not even born, he was little, inside the womb. Krishna actually took the form. He actually went into the womb. Of course, as Super Soul, he's present, but he also, such beautiful description, this tiny little thumb-sized Lord, very beautiful description inside Mother Uttara's womb to save Parikshit Maharaj. But there is a inside story there. The inside story is at that point, Parikshit Maharaj was supposed to come out and he was supposed to rule and he was supposed to be this great king. Whereas in this particular situation, when he was about to leave the body, he was supposed to meet Shukadeva Goswami. And for the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam after Krishna's departure, for the benefit of all these, struggling souls for the future generations, thousands and thousands of years later, for all of us. So that inside story, we may not be aware at that particular time. Now, it may make sense. Sometimes we may understand why things are happening in certain way. Just maybe like this case, Brahma. He is understanding even at that particular time as Jaya Vijaya, like this whole darkness and this episode is going on, he is able to understand at that point, and then he is able to guide the demigods. Because this is another beautiful point at the beginning of chapter Prabhupada brings. Suras and Asuras. Suras are the ones when they're going through this difficulty, they their authorities, their seniors, for guidance and for counseling what's happening. But the asuras, they don't want to, go approach anybody. They think, oh, I know everything. I can deal with this. So they don't approach and seek the counsel. So that's the difference Prabhupada brings. So when the demigods were terrified and they couldn't understand, they approached Lord Brahma. He was explaining because he is able to understand right in that situation while it's going on. But for some of us, we may not understand at that point. We may not understand. Sometimes we may understand after a little bit, after the thing has passed. Oh, you know what? This is what Krishna was really doing for me. Oh, I wish I could understand. And, I wish I didn't blame Krishna or I didn't question Krishna. Oh, I'm so sorry, my dear Krishna. I was not aware of this. So I was really questioning if you care for me or if you're gonna, really protect me in this situation. But sometimes we may not understand at all. It may take one lifetime or many lifetimes. We may not understand at all, as Prabhupada is saying. Even if it appears to be reverse in our calculations, according to our calculations, our perception, our understanding, it may seem like a reverse. Either it's our own case or for other senior devotees, it may seem like, okay, what's happening? These devotees, they have dedicated their everything for Krishna's service. We see these cases like in Bhagavatam, we see, okay, maybe they are elevated, that's fine, but the devotees whom we are seeing around us, we may think, okay, what's happening? And also probably because of attachment to these devotees, we don't want to see them suffer or when they go through, inevitable death, even though we understand it's inevitable, it's painful. It's very painful. So it's very hard for us to accept. And we just don't want that to, happen to the devotees. And we may question, like, what's happening? Like, why are you doing this? But in that times, we can understand Krishna may have an inside story, I was thinking of His Holiness Kadamba Kanan Maharaj, or actually for His Holiness Kadamba Kanan Maharaj, or His Holiness Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, and Krishnandani Mataji. You know, it's different situation. Krishna is arranging these different devotees to be in. I'm thinking through their example how he is helping us, because if we hear them in the end, uh, Kadambakanan Maharaj, he says that is just a change of service. It's like, what? It's so powerful. And Maharaj says, I think Gopal Hari Prabhu was sending this very beautiful clip. Maharaj says, we will meet soon again. And such a faith, such a confidence, such an assurance of the place where he's going to from there. So the inside stories, we may see, oh, why he has to have this cancer and why he has to leave his body right now. But the inside story is they are longing for Prabhupada's service, or, Krishna service in different place or whatever. And Krishna can understand their heart, and Krishna can fulfill in different ways. And His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj's example, I was so disturbed because, it's seemingly like a COVID is a material thing. And how come these kind of devotees can be affected by this? So what does that mean? Krishna doesn't have power to, write over what COVID has to do, or Maharaj doesn't have that, like that inside inspiration to not travel, or like whatever, it could be so many different ways. I was like, why, but then, Radhika Raman Prabhu's this inside story. We don't know what's the inside story, Maharaj's heart, and how Krishna is manifesting. And through that, it's actually showing for all of us. For some devotees, we may have like all the devotees would be around and chanting, and the atmosphere is such charged with the holy name and Krishna's presence, and the devotee's departure. We may consider, yes, this is wonderful, departing in Vrindavan in the middle of devotees while chanting is going on. Yes, that's the best departure. But through these examples where Maharaj was alone with COVID isolation, nobody was there around. Uh, but Krishna is showing for all of us, it's that internal connection. And I'm sure Maharaj, totally in that space where Krishna personally is there and Maharaj's heart is totally with Krishna. Uh, so, this seemingly we cannot understand. But if we open our hearts a little bit, and thanks to these explanations by these wonderful acharyas and our, current devotees, contemporary devotees who have actually gone through this and who have had these deep realizations because of their Krishna connection, because of their connection to Bhagavatam, through that, we can actually understand a little bit and be pacified. Uh, because I think the main struggle is not understanding Krishna's plan. That's fear. Because when we are uncertain and we have to do something, it's like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work or not. I don't know what to expect. But on the contrary, having shelter and having faith is that fearlessness. I may not understand what's going on. I may not have super clarity, but I know Krishna is kind and Krishna does protect his devotees. When we have that confidence and that faith in Krishna, uh, then it doesn't really matter whether the external situation is seemingly reverse or nice or like favorable as per our expectations or our calculations. So and then other some subtle point. I was thinking about this. We may, I go through this, like, why Krishna has to do this? Because on the one sense, he is the one who asked Jay and Vijay, please God and don't let anybody come in. So it's his, his order. Uh, but at the same time, he is ordaining and manifesting this whole situation where seemingly they have offended the devotees and they had to be cursed and then they have to be punished and, become these demons. I'm like, okay, what is this? Okay, we understand they have a duty, but then why Krishna doesn't have to give them the inspiration when these four Kumaras come? Hey, you know what? The Lord said, don't let anybody, but because you're such wonderful devotees and you're so eager to see the Lord, let's go back and check with him. And please, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. Please, can you wait here? I'll go check with my boss and come back. Krishna could have done that very easily. But it's Krishna. It's not, you and me, these little people saying, okay, why not this or why not that? And I'm thinking we may have trouble understanding other devotees when they do things seemingly different. We may be thinking, like, why are they doing this? I mean, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is how I would do it, and this is what is actually, more beneficial or more favorable in the situation. We may encounter such situations when we are doing the services, and we may be like, okay, this is not how it should be, and we may even start becoming inimical, questioning, and becoming whatnot that can lead to offending the devotees and become envious or grudgeful, like so much it can go on. But if we can understand that each of us have our own connection and our own understanding, and each of us are trying according to our own best. I mean, at this particular time, I may see this is the best. And, like, why did I do that? Like, really, Amrita-keli? Like, what were you thinking at that time? So, as we are growing and maturing in our own connection, our own Krishna consciousness, we would be evolving. And in the similar way, if we can understand for other devotees also, they're also evolving, they're also moving forward in their connection to Krishna. So if we can have that peace to understand, I may not completely gel or agree with the way the things are happening when a devotee is doing the service, but that's the inspiration they have right now, and they're working to the best of their capability. Let me see how I can support them from where I am, or else, pray for them that whatever it is can please Krishna and the devotees and the service to go on nicely. So, not understanding others' ways, definitely Krishna's is way far out, but thinking we can even apply that for the devotees around us, seemingly once devotees speak or do things or whatever it is. So, it's 8:05. I'm sorry, I'm just blabbering. It's not very organized or prepared or, proper philosophical flow class. But this is a subject, this is a message, it's Krishna fair and how to understand Krishna and how to understand his protection has been one of the biggest struggling thing for me. And through my own pondering on this subject and by asking these questions to my spiritual master and many other wonderful devotees and hearing from them, a lot of contemplation has been there in the heart. So I was happy when I saw this purport just to share all that to deepen my own faith in Krishna and Krishna's kindness and protection, and be willing to open and accept Krishna's ways, even though I may not understand them all the time. I apologize if any of you feel like this is just some random blabbering. Kindly forgive me. But I just hope and pray that it's of some help in your own connection to Krishna's protection and Krishna's kindness. Thank you so much. I'll pause here, and if any of you have any thoughts, I'm sure all of you will have some thoughts and contemplations or reflections. Please share. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mathaji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept
Mataji,
my humble obeisances too, Prabhu.
wonderful, lively, a discussion, particularly, you centered around the reciprocation, between the devotee and the Lord. And, like you said, it's so I get stumped when I see some of the stories, when it was Draupadi's call, or when it was the gambling that was happening. Krishna waited, he said, you never called me. So I was standing just outside. I was just a call away, and then the same way, Jambuvan's daughter had to wait an entire yuga, correct, to get married to Krishna. Whereas Rukmini sent a letter and he responds to Rukmini, And here the Kumaras and even the doorkeepers, they never even invite, they didn't even in their mind think about the Lord, or maybe they thought, we don't know, it is not mentioned. But the Lord comes there running, So Krishna is so enigmatic, so enigmatic. It's also beautiful, but enigmatic, So I don't know how to take this, but not to give a chance to Krishna that you never called me or something. I think it's better to always keep him in his mind and, insurance, backup plan. So thank you so much, Mataji. It was very, very lively. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, just in case, I'll do my part. Yeah, it's very nice. I think you're gonna love this if you haven't already heard Radhika Raman Prabhu's class. Prabhu is telling Krishna loves drama. He could have, just acted straight in your the situations you said, but no, he loves drama. He does this and he does this, and he does through all
Yeah.
that. And I'm thinking, if he does everything straightforward like this, probably we may not have all this, sometimes struggling, sometimes, okay, Krishna, I understand. Okay, Krishna, I don't understand. Through all these different moods, he's tugging at our hearts and then pulling them, our heartstrings towards him. And it's just so beautiful when we hear these churnings and, hear from these beautiful devotees' realizations. I was like, wow, yeah, it's so true,
Mataji,
Yeah.
send me that lecture. I'll definitely listen to it.
Yes, Prabhu, probably I'll send in the SP speakers group. It's just so
Okay, Mataji.
beautiful. I was actually, trying to hear for a week. Every day I was hearing that because personally for me it was just so heart touching, and it actually brought out for me all those times I was questioning Krishna. I mean, when in my own life, or when things seemingly doesn't work the way they were in the devotees around here, I was really questioning, I was really rebelling, and it was challenging for my faith in Krishna, because I was seeing Krishna's protection in a very narrow vision. But hearing Radhika Raman Prabhu's, it just opened the heart. I was like literally in tears. I had to, step out of the class. I just couldn't hold myself. It was just so, so beautiful. Prabhu's own realizations and the way Prabhu explained. Yes, definitely I'll share, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mata.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Nice class. So I did not plan to allocate this verse to you, Mataji. This is Krishna's plan. Okay. I did not do. I was just thinking when you were reading the purport and the first line of the purport. So okay. So yeah. So saying that, but it is very. I mean, can you read the first line of the purport again?
I know, this is like, did you remember Shatarupa Mataji used to say, I mean, we cannot say for every single verse and purport, but she used to say some of the purports, the first line is like the punch line. Like, Prabhupada gives like the whole essence of the, in one sense, Krishna conscious philosophy in one sentence. When something is arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not be disturbed by it, even if it appears to be a reverse according to one's calculation.
Yes. Very nice thing. I mean, very. Even in the case of pure devotees, for an outsider, it like it is not justice, right? So, but for them, even in this case, Jaya and Vijaya, they did not even complain, right? They are sad that they have to go through this, but they're not complaining. Oh, Lord is saying that I did this, but still they're not saying that. Oh, why did you do this for me? Because I'm doing my service. But I mean, the pure devotees in these cases that you gave a lot of examples. I mean, they don't complain for the things that are happening in their lives. I mean, for outsider, it might look like, I mean, something not justice. So, I mean, at that moment, but as you gave very nice examples of Parikshit Maharaj, and I mean, how, I mean, even Prahlad Maharaj, right? How wonderful, I mean, things that happened, how Lord's helped them. I'm not maybe in the beginning as soon as they going through, but then it is all bringing their glory, right, to the devotees' glory. I mean, for everybody else to see, right? I mean, the Lord is making that happen, but they're not having those kind of. I mean, they might be going through suffering, but they're not blaming or they're not complaining, right? So they're going through that thing. But in when it comes to in our cases, so it is very difficult to. Of course, we understand that thing happens theoretically without the Lord's sanction, but when it comes to practical level, it is going to be very hard to understand at that moment. But even in our cases also, I mean, if we give some time and then go back and see what happened, I mean, majority of the cases, at least what we can see, right? Some cases we may be able to still see why those things happened, but there is something that is good that is happening, right? I mean, in long run, as you said, maybe not in this life or next life or whatever, but it's very very difficult to understand the drama that the Lord is making us to go through, right? So very difficult. So I was just thinking about that. But of course, I mean, accepting and moving forward is the right way to do in that case. So yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Prabhu. Yeah, that's a very beautiful point. How these pure devotees are treating. I used to read a lot of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's writings, and he was actually, used to ask, please, for to relieving all these other, living entities' sufferings. I'm ready to take on whatever suffering, give me cancer or whatever it takes. I'm like, really? What is he talking? Like, why is he saying, at the age of 50? Go through it's very painful for us. And, we see Kunti Maharaj saying, let those calamities come again and again, because for them, I think, Prabhu, as you have brought up, their connection with Krishna is so strong. All these things are like, they're not really stopping. Whether they are in this difficulty or seemingly peaceful time, their connection is always strong. So that's why it's not really, bothering them so much, because for us, we just get so bogged down by that. I can't even chant, properly if little thing goes here and there. So that's, very intense for us. But these pure devotees, they don't have any botheration. They continue to take shelter, even if Prahlad Maharaj was not caught until the end of the cliff. He is like super, blissful and happily chanting. So, one thing I was reminded as you speak, in Nityan Pran Prabhu in his session in Gita Nagari, he was saying, uh, don't just spend all your time asking why me, why this, all that. When things are seemingly going through, of course, we need to take some practical actions to, do whatever it takes for us to be able to practice our Krishna consciousness. But one thing he was sharing, ask, where do I want to go after this difficulty goes away? So invest our time in practically whatever is needed to, address that difficulty. have that vision. Where do I want to go in my relationship with Krishna once this phase passes? So that can actually, bring us out. And Radhika Raman Prabhu is also saying, right, offering prayers and understanding how Krishna's glory, it can pull us a little bit out from our, that problem, and it can give us outsider view through that problem, and that can actually help practically also sometimes. Yeah, it's a beautiful subject, beautiful topic. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, so much we can discuss. Thank you. Okay, 8:15. Who else would like to share? I'm sure each of you have so many realizations on this subject. Panduranga Gopal Prabhu, some nectar.
I was also thinking about him before you said.
Prabhu, you're on mute if you're speaking. I would love to hear from you.
Mathaji, I just joined. I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything. My apologies.
But still you can share, Prabhu, about his Krishna fair. Does Krishna really care for his devotees? I mean, maybe super high devotees, but little people like us, does he really care?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Yeah. Yes, that's what Prabhupada is writing. We don't think so, but he does. He really does.
He just appoints some people to take care of it. That's not his bothering anymore.
Yeah. That's one way he can do. Yeah. Okay. Any other sharings, reflections, devotees? Okay, nothing else. We can stop here. Thank you so much for joining and giving me your association. I will pray that we can somehow be deeply touched by Prabhupada and Srimad Bhagavatam to deepen our faith in Krishna and his ever kindness and ever loving protection, and be willing to offer ourselves in reciprocation to all that he is doing for us. Thank you so much. Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. Srila Prabhupada की जय. Hare Krishna. You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you and Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.